Luxury Society. Good day, everyone. I am Rachel Orminita, your TED Talker for today. Imagine this. You scroll through your TikTok feed. The guy on the video you've watched is wearing a limited edition sneakers, wearing an Apple Watch, and owns a latest MacBook Pro. Though, he clearly just posted a video of him have his life put together and not a spreadsheet. Now, here's the twist. Has broke. Welcome to the world Thorstein Veblen saw coming over 120 years ago. In 1899, he wrote a book with a title only an economist could love. The Theory of the Leisure Class. It is sharp, provocative, and still sparks debate today. But the question is, does it still hold water in our modern world? Thorstein Veblen's theory of the leisure class is not just about economics. It's about us, our habits, our Instagram feeds, our shopping carts, the strange human desire to flex without calling it a flex, and the strange things we do to feel valuable in the eyes of others. His central idea is that the upper class, or what he calls the leisure class, uses wealth not just to enjoy life, but to display social status. According to him, this class does not work in the traditional sense. Instead, their value comes from being able to avoid work. He introduces the term conspicuous consumption, spending money on expensive things not because they're useful, but because they show off wealth. It is like spending money not to live, not even to enjoy, but to look more powerful and capable. Think designer handbags, luxury cars, or even luxury watches that don't tell time any better. These aren't just purchases, they are performances. He also introduces the term conspicuous leisure. This is where the leisure class engage in unproductive activities to demonstrate freedom from work. He most likely want to emphasize that time spent unproductively is a symbol of status. Veblen also argues that this consumption is a way of signaling power and success, creating a kind of social ladder where the rich leads and others try to imitate them, what he calls pecuniary emulation. This leads the lower classes attempting to imitate the consumption patterns of the wealthy. This creates a pecuniary standard of living where social status is measured by wealth rather than productive contribution. He most likely want to emphasize that the upper class shapes social standards of taste and fashion, and what is considered beautiful or elegant often reflects cost and exclusivity rather than utility or intrinsic value. Now, compared to the earlier thinkers like Adam Smith, who saw consumption more as a driver of economic growth, or Karl Marx, who focused on class conflict in terms of labor and ownership, Veblen shifts the spotlight to culture and habits. He's less interested in production and more in how people use wealth to shape social meaning. Thorstein Veblen gave us a powerful lens to understand the social side of wealth. His theory might not explain everything, but it asked the right question. Why do we buy what we buy? Who are we trying to impress? And what does our spending say about who we are? But what are the strengths of this theory? Of course, he captured something very real, the symbolic power of wealth. His insights laid the groundwork for modern consumer theory, cultural sociology, and even branding. He challenged the idea that the economic behavior is always rational or productive. And honestly, haven't we all seen, or maybe even participated in, some version of conspicuous consumption? But the theory isn't perfect. It also has flaws. First, Veblen's leisure class mostly talks about men in Western societies and ignores variations across gender, race, and culture. His view is also a bit elitist. It assumes people at lower levels of society only imitate the rich without acknowledging resistance or alternative values. Second, Veblen downplayed the fact that some wealthy people do work hard or contribute in meaningful ways. Not every rich person is idle, and not every display of wealth is about status. His theory also assumes that people always act to impress others. But human behavior is more complex. People might buy nice things because they genuinely enjoy them, not just to show off. So the question is, does Thorstein Veblen still matter? Absolutely. Maybe even more than in 1899. In today's world of social media, Veblen's ideas are on asteroids. Instagram, TikTok, influencer culture, they all thrive on curated display of lifestyle and luxury. Even the middle class gets caught up in aspirational consumption, buying beyond their means just to appear successful. But modern critics have built on Veblen. We now talk about things like ethical consumerism, quiet luxury, or even anti-consumption, trends that show a more complicated relationship between wealth and identity. So yes, his assumptions still ring true, but they need updating to fit our diverse, digital, and globalized society. What makes Veblen's work so fascinating today is that we're surrounded by a digital leisure. People earn money by looking like they don't need to earn money. Influencers, celebrities, trust fund TikTokers teaching us how to manifest abundance. But Veblen challenges us to ask, what are we really chasing? Do we want comfort, fulfillment, or just the illusion of status? Because when consumption becomes performance, we stop buying things to use them and start buying things to be seen with them. So the next time you reach for that limited edition, algorithm approved, hyper curated luxury object, ask yourself, is this me? Or is this Veblen's ghost whispering signal harder? Because maybe the real luxury isn't owning things that impress others. Maybe it's not needing to. In a world obsessed with image, Veblen's old school insight still cuts through the noise. Sometimes, the most radical thing you can do is not to consume for show, but to live for yourself. Thank you.